Israel, put your hope in Yahweh.
Hey everyone, happy Friday, happy Preparation Day. Welcome to Torah and Messiah YouTube channel, our podcast series where I bring you books and articles on scriptural truths, matters, opinions, and more to help challenge you, open your level of understanding to dig and search deeper for yourself, to be a diligent student of the Word. And we are bringing you The Principle of the Seed by Brad Scott. I will be your narrator, Chris Wilson, in Chapter 3, The Parable of the Seed, and we continue on. The Law of the Firstborn. The Law of the Firstborn underlies much of the narration in the lives of the ancient fathers and their offspring. This law is clearly part of most Middle Eastern culture. The first male born is to receive the double portion. The firstborn receives the blessing of the father as well. This appears to be the primary focus of the lives of Jacob and Esau, yet in virtually every story we read of the ancient patriarchs, it is the second son that receives the blessing of the father. Is it possible that Yahweh changed this law to the law of the second-born? I submit to you that the very fact that Yahweh did not change this law is a testimony to his steadfast commitment to his word, and a clear testimony as to who the true seed of Yahweh really is. I will also submit to you that Yahweh has always been desperately trying to teach us this principle of the seed. It concerns the identity of his seed. Adam's physical seed was in Cain and Abel. Yet Abel is the one whom Yahweh chose. Abraham's physical seed was in Isaac and Ishmael. Yet it is in Isaac that the seed is called. Isaac's physical seed was in Jacob and Esau. Yet it is Jacob that receives the blessing. The same is true with Joseph's sons. What Elohim was struggling to teach Adam is that it is not the first one that Adam puts his seed into, but rather the one that Elohim puts his seed into. It is not Abraham's firstborn that is Yahweh's firstborn. This is one of the reasons that the Hebrew words for firstborn and chosen are family words. The firstborn in Hebrew is bakar. The chosen in Hebrew is bachar. Notice that the only middle letters are different. Both words contain the letters that involve the head of the house, the resh and the beit. The middle letter of the word firstborn is the kaf, the open palm of the hand that is laid upon the head of the eldest son. The middle letter of the word chosen is the chet, the wall that separates sheepfolds. Isaac is the one that Yahweh chose. Jacob is the son that received Yahweh's seed, for his seed is not physical, but rather his word. Yahweh's children are produced by Yahweh's seed. This is why Paul told us that the children of the flesh are not the children of Elohim. According to the law of like kind, children of the flesh can only produce children of the flesh. Flesh and blood cannot enter the kingdom of Elohim. 1 Corinthians 15, verse 50. Now this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of Elohim. Neither does corruption inherit incorruption. The bottom line is that Yahweh's seed is his word, and that is how his children reproduce. Yahweh's children will produce his fruit, and according to Genesis 1:11, the seed is in the fruit. The seed of the woman is the Messiah, and the Messiah is from the beginning. The fruit is how Yahweh reaches out to mankind. When we produce his fruit and someone receives it, him, then there is a seed in that fruit. This is how our Father has designed his word to multiply from the very beginning, and he embedded this simple principle in everything growing around us. Is he a smart Elohim or what? Paul and the seed. Paul speaks of this seed in his letter to the Galatians, a truth that must be understood in order to properly understand the context of this often misunderstood letter. Galatians chapter 3, verse 16. Now to Abraham and his seed were the promises made. He saith not, and to seeds as of many, but as of one, and to thy seed, which is Messiah. This, combined with the natural principles of the seed in Bereshit or Genesis 1:11, leaves us with four clear scriptural truths. Number one, seeds are used to express what produces and reproduces all living things. Number two, like kind produces like kind. Number three, the seed is in the fruit. And number four, there is only one good seed. In Romans, we read more revelation concerning the seed. Remember, you will find this seed everywhere. Romans chapter 9, verses 6 and 7. Not as though the word of Elohim has taken none effect. For they are not all Israel which are of Israel, neither because they are the seed of Abraham are they all children, but in Isaac shall thy seed be called. Paul first tells us that just because someone comes from the loins of Abraham does not mean that they are children of Yahweh, for in Isaac shall thy seed be called. What does that mean? This statement means at least two things. The synopsis of the story of Abraham, Sarah, and Isaac is rather short. Abraham and Sarah were made a promise by Yahweh, and the English word promise is from the Hebrew word dabar. This word is sometimes hard to describe because it is the Hebrew word for word. The word of Yahweh is the dabar of Yahweh. The English word promise is translated many times from the Hebrew word for word. Did you get that? In other words, oh boy, Yahweh gave his word to Abraham and Sarah. His word of promise was that they would have a son to continue Abraham's seed, in spite of Sarah's age. If they had remained faithful, which is the key word here, they would have eventually produced Isaac. But we all know the story. They stepped out of faith or trust in Yahweh's word and did it their way and produced the historical enemy of Isaac, Ishmael. To make a long story short, Abraham and Sarah came to their senses, chose to trust Yahweh, and Isaac was soon born, the product of faith, which is the true seed of Yahweh. They produced the fruit of the word of Yahweh. In Isaac shall thy seed be called is a simple Hebrew expression meaning faith. They clung to Yahweh's seed, his word, and produced the true seed of Abraham, Isaac. So you see, we know it had nothing to do with the physical seed of Abraham, because Ishmael had the physical seed of Abraham in him. But that is not what Yahweh is seeking. His children must be produced by his seed, which is his word. When Abraham was commanded by Yahweh to offer up his son, he called Isaac his only begotten son. Yahweh was looking at his seed, not Abraham's natural seed. The natural, seen, is only a picture of the scriptural, unseen reality. Now let's put this in context with the next statement by Paul, Romans chapter 9, verse 8. That is, they which are the children of the flesh, these are not the children of Elohim, but the children of the promise are counted for the seed. Oh boy, here's that seed again. And what is Paul saying here? He is elaborating on what the meaning of in Isaac shall thy seed be called is all about. Children of the flesh, remember our second scriptural truth, can only produce children of the flesh. Remember what the English word promise means? The children of the flesh, physical, natural, these are not the children of Elohim, but the children of the promise, word, are counted for the seed. Now you have to decide, is this a statement that is new or simply a statement that is true? I remember sitting in a motel room one evening waiting to speak at a seminar with my friend Bill Cloud. Bill and I were sitting on the edge of our beds watching some 24-hour news program. I remember that it was during the Democratic National Convention that summer. One of their guests was Ron Reagan. Not Ronald Reagan, but Ron Reagan. Bill and I watched as this man spoke for 20 minutes on what he believed and espoused. When he was finished, we noticed that he said nothing, not one thing, which even remotely resembled anything his father, Ronald Reagan, taught or passionately believed in. Nothing Ron Reagan said was part of his father's life or convictions. After a few commercials, the program returned with Michael Reagan as the next guest. For 20 minutes, Michael talked about all the values and principles that he lived by, all the morals and ideals he valued. Everything he said was also held dear by his father, Ronald Reagan, his adoptive father, Ronald Reagan. You see, Michael Reagan was his adopted son. He had none of Ronald Reagan's blood or sperm cells running through him. I would ask you this: which man reflected the image of his father? The one who had his sperm cells, or the one who chose to follow his father? What kind of children do you think our Creator is seeking? The bottom line, once again, is that according to empirical science, not evolution, the physical seed of Abraham is only capable of producing the physical seed of Abraham. But Yahweh's children are produced by his seed, and his seed is his word, which is spirit and life. Romans chapter 9, verses 6 through 8, and Yochanan, or John chapter 6, verse 63. This, in a nutshell, is the principle of the seed. All right, everyone. That was chapter 3, the parable of the seed, of the principle of the seed by Brad Scott. And thank you for tuning in and listening. Please leave your comments below if you enjoyed the show. And also, let me know if you actually watch these or just listen to them, because I put a lot of time and effort into the graphics that go into the video for your visuals. This one's just going to be a straightforward video, no graphics in this one because, well, I didn't have the time. But anyway, I just want to know what your feedback is to see what I can do better to serve you. And in the meantime, I pray that you have a blessed Shabbat, a wonderful Sabbath, and thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and tap that bell icon so you receive all the notifications of when I put out new videos. And also please share these videos so we can spread the message and get this out there to the people. And thank you for your support. And until next time, I pray that you have a blessed Sabbath and enjoy the weekend. Until Monday, my friends, Shalom, and as always, Yahweh bless you.
All Israel, open Yahweh. Oh, Israel, open